Probably not extreme. We'll do stealing. Hello. What you doing, hon? You're laying in bed? Yeah, that's right. You do got to get up early. I was actually thinking that. And? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
I want to read the first few pages, but no, I'm on the phone.
I'm surprised you're actually reading it. You're just supposed to, like, browse.
Not the first few pages.
Yeah.
It talks about the Kama Sutra part of it.
Bothodd. Bwyn. Gagnes matar.
Ja, wil ik altilagi. Húsasmíþar. Húsasmíþar.
Gagnes matar. Gagnes matar. Ja. Gagnes matar.
Bothodd. Gagnismathar.
Bwyn. Gagnes matar. Bothodd. Gagnes matar. Ja. Gagnes matar. Húsas mithar. Bothodd. Ja. Gagnes matar.
Ho. Timberhochwandi.
Altilagi. Timberhochwandi. Bwyn. Timberhochwandi. Ja. Red. Villeg. Bothodd. Altilagi. Ja. Timberhochwandi. Altilagi. Red. Villeg. Ja. Gagnes matar. Red. Húsas mithar. Bwyn. Villeg. Altilagi. Ja. Húsas mithar. Bothodd. Bwyn. Fileg. Gagnes mythar. Ja. Ja. Húsas mythar. Hå. Red. Ja. Billig. Bwyn. Fiskimathar. Ja. Gagnes mythar. Hå. Gagnes mythar. Timberhoch wandi. Bothodd. Timberhoch wandi. Hå. Timberhoch wandi. Bwyn. Timberhoch wandi. Bothodd. Timberhoch wandi. Ja. Bwyn. Altilagi. Húsas mythar.
Bwyn. Red. Nama mathar.
Ja. Fiskimathar. Húsas mythar. Húsas mythar. Húsas mythar. Bothodd. Namamathar.
Ja. Húsas mythar.
Timber Hochwandi. Hushashmither. Othothr. Hushashmither. 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 Timber Hochwandi. Hushashmither. 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 Puin. Hushashmither. Hushashmither. Hushashmither.
Othothr. Ho, ja. Vilek. Gagnesmacher.
Hodord, alltid lagi.
Ja, red. Altilagi.
Buin, Villek. Ja, ja. Hodord, Villek, ja. Ja, alltid lagi.
Puin. Gagnesmacher. Hushashmither.
Buin, ja. Hodord.
Ho. Namamather. Othothr. Hushashmither.
Ja. Hushashmither.
Ja, alltid lagi.
Bwyn. Pwsias mithr. Pwsias mithr.
Bothwr. Ushas mithr.
Ja. Pwsias mithr. Bothoddr. Red.
Ho. Red. Nama mathar. Nama mathar.
Bwyn, bilek.
Ho. Pwsias mithr. Ja. Ja. Pwsias mithr. Bwyn. Bilek. Altilagi. Red. Bilek. Ja. Bilek. Ja. Red. Pwsias mithr. Altilagi. Bothoddr. Pwsias mithr. Ja. Pwsias mithr.
Budur, ja. Bwyn, alltid lagi.
Ho.
Ja. Ja. Bilek.
Bwyn.
Bwyn. Til bardaga.
Ja. Bilek. Bothoddr. Pwsias mithr. Ho. Pwsias mithr.
Budur, alltid lagi. Ja, bilek.
Bwyn. Timber hochwan. Timber hochwan. Nama mathar. Ushas mithr.
Bwyn. Ja. Timber hochwandi. Bothoddr.
Bwyn, ja. Budur, bilek. Ja, alltid lagi. Ja. Alltid lagi. Ja. Bilek.
Ho. Húsasmíþur.
Ja. Gå inn. Ja, alltid lagi. Vil jeg.
Bathat húsasmíþur.
Hó. Verkmarþur.
Gå inn. Alltid lagi. Vil jeg. Hodord. Alltid lagi.
Bathat. Verkmarþur. Húsasmíþur.
Ja. Ja. Hodord. Alltid lagi.
Hó. Nama mathur. Húsasmíþur.
Gå inn. Dra de da. Vil ja.
Búinn. Húsasmíþur. Ja. Húsasmíþur.
Ja, vil jeg. Gå inn. Alltid lagi.
Ja. Altilagi. Húsasmíþur.
Bathat. Húsasmíþur. Húsasmíþur.
Ja, ja.
Ja. Húsasmíþur. Húsasmíþur.
Búinn. Húsasmíþur.
Bodord. Bodord. Altilagi.
Ho. Buin. Namamather. Bothoth. Buin. Hushashmither. Hushashmither. Ja. Timberhochwandi. Hushashmither.
Buin. Ja. Ja. Villek. Altilagi.
Ho.
Ja. Hushashmither.
Bothoth. Namamather. Hushashmither.
Bothoth. Namamather.
Buin. Ja. Namamather. Ho.
Bodord. Villek. Buin. Altilagi. Ja. Villek. Bodord. Altilagi.
Buin. Hushashmither. Ho. Red. Hushashmither. Bothoth. Ja. Namamather.
Ja. Ja, vil jeg. Buin. Alltid lagi. Bodor. Vil jeg. Ja. Ja, vil jeg. Ja. Alltid lagi. Ja. Buin. Alltid lagi. Bodord. Ja, vil jeg. Alltid lagi. Buin. Ja. Bodord. Vil jeg. Ja. Buin. Alltid lagi. Ja. Ja. Bodor. Alltid lagi. Buin.
Buin. Bothothr alltid lagi. Hushashmither. Ho. Hushashmither. Ja, Hushashmither.
Bodor. Radida. Ja. 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 Buin. Radida. Alltid lagi. Bodor. Ja, vil jeg. Buin. Radida. Til bardaga. Bodor. Alltid lagi. Vil jeg. Buin. Ja. Ja.
Bothothr Hushashmither. Ho. Hushashmither. Ja, ja. Alltid lagi. Hushashmither. Hushashmither. Ja. Red. Villeg. Red.
Bodor. Alltid lagi. Buin. Vil jeg. Ja. Ja.
Wood, please.
Alltid lagi.
Buin. Ja. Villeg. På.
Ja.
På.
Hodor Radida. Villek. Ja. Buin. Altilagi. Ja. Hodor Villek.
Buin. Ja. Red. Húsasmíðar. Húsasmíðar.
Buin. Ja. Ja. Hodor Radida. Radida. Buin. Radida. Ja.
Ja.
Bathar. Húsasmíðar. Húsasmíðar. Húsasmíðar.
Altilagi. Ja. Ja. Radida. Til bardaga.
Wood, please.
Bathar. Húsasmíðar. 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 Húsasmíðar.
Hodor. Ja. Buin. Villek. Ja. Hodor. Buin. Hodor. Ja. Altilagi.
Ja. Húsasmíðar. På. Húsasmíðar.
Hodor. Ja.
Altilagi. Húsasmíðar.
Buin. Villek. Ja. Hodor. Altilagi. Buin. Ja. Villek. Hodor. Altilagi. Buin.
Quinn. Húsasmíþar.
Quinn. Húsasmíþar.
Bothar. Húsasmíþar. Húsasmíþar.
Ja.
Húsasmíþar.
Ho. Ja. Timberhochwandi.
Quinn. Bothar. Timberhochwandi.
Ja. Ja. Quinn. Til bardaga. Radida. Radida. Til bardaga. Hodord vil ek. Buin. Ja. 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 Hodord radida. Alltid lagi. Buin.
Bothar. Quinn. Húsasmíþar.
Wood, please.
Ja, ja. Buin. Ja. Hodord radida. Til bardaga. Radida. Buin. Ja. Alltid lagi. Til bardaga. Radida. Ja. Radida. Ja. Ja. Radida. Til bardaga. Buin. Ja. Hodord til bardaga. Radida. 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 Buin til bardaga. Ja. Bardaga. Radida. Buin. Ja. Radida. Ja. Bardaga. Bardaga.
Bothar.
Quinn. Re Timberhochwandi.
Hodord. Radida. Ja. Bardaga. Radida. Ja. Buin. Hodord. Ja. Til bardaga. Radida. Radida. Ja. Buin. Buin. Til bardaga. Hodord. Buin. Ja. Hodord. Ja. Radida. Alltid lagi. Radida! Ur til bardaga! Ja! Radida! Radida! Ur Radida! Altilagi! Ja! Radida! Ur til bardaga! Altilagi! Ja! Radida! Uin til bardaga! Radida!
News came of a mysterious land lying beyond the Iron Hail, prompting the clan elders to send their bravest warriors. They sailed through fog and storms, navigating the treacherous Iron Sea, until they finally reached the shores of Northgard. News came of a mysterious land lying beyond the Iron Hail, prompting the clan elders to send their bravest warriors. They sailed through fog and storms, navigating the treacherous Iron Sea. Till at last they reached the shores of Northgard. News came of a mysterious land lying beyond the Iron Hail, prompting the clan elders to send their bravest warriors. They sailed
I love
through
that the
fog
Google UX
and
Design
storms,
certificate was taught by Google
navigating the
employees. By the end of the
treacherous
certificate,
isles.
I had 4 case studies in my portfolio. Now I got this job that I love as a UX designer.
Get flexible online training for in-demand jobs and achieve what matters to you. It starts with a Google Career Certificate.
Want a worry-free way to kill bugs? Zevo traps use light to attract and trap flying insects with no odor and no mess. They work continuously, so you don't have to. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
Приказания? Правильно. Да. Аз делаю. Лесоруб. Лесоруб. Аз готова. Рудокоп. Да. Да, рудокоп. Прави охотница. Здрав.
News came of a mysterious land lying beyond the Iron Hail, prompting the clan elders to send their bravest warriors. They sailed through fog and storms, navigating the treacherous Iron Sea, until they finally reached the shores of Northgard.
Let's see what this is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ultimate Console Showdown. Meet the three titans: Xbox, the Fridge, Series X, PlayStation, the Reverse Oreo 5, and Nintendo, the Kids Switch. Time to fight. Enter G2A.com to get the deals now.
Hey guys, Spirit of the Law here. In this video, I'm going to talk a bit about mods in Definitive Edition 2. First, I'll tell you how to get them, and then I'll show you a few that I'd recommend checking out if you haven't already. For example, I changed my main menu to look like this, and you can too. Now you can search them up on ageofempires.com, but I'd suggest not doing it that way. They have some instructions that involve logging in with your Xbox Live account, downloading the zip file, and then extracting and moving it. That sounds a lot like work. At the same time, there's no Steam Workshop available, so how do you get them? Well, the best option is actually integrated into the game. Under the mods tab, you come to a page that lists all of the mods that you have. I do like that you can turn them off in the screen without removing them entirely, and you can also sort the order of priority. To find a new one, you just go to Browse Mods at the top, where you can sort by likes and downloads. If you have something specific in mind, like you want a new random map, you can filter for that specifically. Personally, I think this could use a few more filters like they had on the Steam Workshop, where you could sort by the most popular over a particular time period. But this is what we have to work with. So now that you know how to get them, I thought I'd talk about a few popular ones that you guys might be interested in. The first one is always a classic, and it's the Small Trees mod. This is in fact the most popular mod at the moment, and was released by AoE Official. Basically, a lot of people love this because it's easier to see holes in your wall and task villagers to specific trees, which admittedly can be hard to do in the vanilla game. That being said, I know a large contingent of people prefer the look of the default trees, and to each their own. On the other hand, if your problem with Small Trees mod is that it doesn't go far enough for you, there's an even smaller trees mod that you might like better. Continuing with the graphics theme, the next mod is the Useless Plant Remover. This takes away the small plants and shrubs that appear randomly around the map. If you do go with a small tree mod, then all of the bushes can start to look a little close to the same size, so this mod just removes those to smooth things out a little bit more. Again, you can see how this might be useful to avoid leaving gaps in your walls. The next is the improved grid mod by Zetnus that comes in a snow and no snow version. Now the game does come with a built-in grid option, but some people might prefer the look of this one better. The No Snow mod in its own right was also fairly popular on the Steam Workshop. And speaking of removing snow, the next mod I want to talk about is Green Arabia. If you haven't played it, Green Arabia tries to fix some of the inconsistencies in regular Arabia. First of all, you always start with one of your 4 sheep already converted, so you never have to worry about finding your first one. In some versions in the past, that one sheep you found wasn't always with 3 others, but in Definitive Edition all 4 are always together. You also have a few other things, like guaranteed safe woodlines, ponds never generate in forests beside your town, elevation is decreased and more spread out, cliffs are removed entirely, and just bugs in general have been reduced. It might sound like something made for casual players, but even for high-level games, it just makes things more consistent. You want the game to come down to player skill and not just how lucky your map generation was, and this is an attempt to address that. On the other hand, if a consistent and predictable start sounds terrible to you, the mod database has you covered there as well, with Zetnus's Hyper-Random map. It comes in 2 flavors, Hyper-Random and Hyper-Random Light. It doesn't say exactly what the difference is, but Hyper-Random at least lets it generate some really weird maps. Ever wanted to play Arena Islands with water elevation? What about a game where you start with a 60 attack spy unit and are immediately under siege by wolves? If that sounds great, this is the map for you. Moving on, the next mod I want to talk about is the Improved Tech UI. With 35 civilizations in the game, all with a unique combination of units and techs, it's hard to remember exactly what they all have. That's where this mod comes in. You can see at the bottom of the screen, it gives you a reminder of what units and techs you have available. Remembering all 70 unique techs at the castle can also be tricky, so it's got those as well. If you're just playing for fun or you're new to the game, I could see it being a really useful tool to learn the civilizations. Getting into the really fun stuff though, of course I have to bring up the 9x and 256x tech mods. Both let you research technologies multiple times, and I've talked before about some of the most ridiculous strategies. It's always a lot of fun to play, and it's no wonder it was one of the first mods to be uploaded to Definitive Edition. I highly recommend trying it out at least once if you haven't already. But while this wasn't an exhaustive list by any means, those are a few of the most popular mods that I wanted to spotlight. If there's a great mod you think I missed, be sure to let me know in the comments, and I might make a video trying it out. But that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.
Cut the cable with Verizon Home Internet and cut your internet bill to just $25 a month.
I finally cut the cable.
Cause
paper scissors, there is the addition of powerful myth units which inhabit their
you
own
like
planets.
either the mythology,
to
right,
counter them,
Edie?
you'll need Age of Mythology's other new type of unit, heroes. These single combatants are far stronger than the average soldier, but obviously come with a financial cost appropriate to their power
Never
level to balance
played
them
it.
out. These 2 new unit classes make combat quite a bit more dynamic, as there's now more counters to think about and new strategies to employ. However, even when you are utilising your units and armies to their fullest, like a lot of RTSs, it can still devolve into a who's got the largest blob of troops competition at the end of the day. Thankfully, AOM did do more
I
than
believe
just
they're
unit
going to
types. One of
remaster
the
it.
most significant additions are the God Powers, mostly single-use abilities that can turn the tide of battle when used intelligently. There are over 50 of them, and they're granted to you depending on your faction, major god, and subsequent chosen minor gods throughout a match. Still really enjoying Age of Mythology's classic, if fairly vanilla flavour of RTS gameplay. Even for the time, it was similar to other competing strategy games, and bore many resemblances to Ensemble's earlier titles.
Yep.
That's not a criticism, rather an observation. It made significant ground on other fronts, with its 3D game engine and unique hybrid setting of historical and fantasy. And the fact that the gameplay supported those new endeavours while also being enjoyable, deep, and mechanically sound is more than enough to excuse not having any genre-defining changes or advancements. And it helps to have the extended edition here to make things a bit easier too, like being able to run it smoothly on modern PCs at high resolutions, as well as having multiplayer and Steam Workshop support baked right in. After the extended edition, there was also the previously mentioned Tales of the Dragon expansion.
There you go, Edie. You're gonna buy this day one, aren't you? go. Now, I wish we would get Command and Conquer stuff.
What if you could do SEO smarter and faster? With Wix, you can edit your meta tags, page by page, or all in one.
Hey guys, Spirit of the Law here. A couple of weeks ago, I covered the big changes in the April patch. Though now that it's officially out, I want to do a bit of a spotlight video for this one, focusing on a civ that got a pretty extensive overhaul, the Vikings. Now, I did a civ overview on them a little over a month ago, and naturally they received some of the most changes of any civilization in the patch. Classic. We can consider this an addendum to that overview, going over 4 major changes they received in depth to put those into perspective with some testing and examples of course, and also talk about where this leaves Vikings as a whole. To set the stage, heading into the new patch, Vikings were recently performing 8th best in 1v1 Arabia. On the flip side, in team games, they tend to struggle a bit more, though I think one of the changes coming in particular may actually help them in those games a surprising amount. Like I said, there's 4 significant changes we'll be covering in this video, and to start off, the first is that I'd argue they're one of the biggest beneficiaries of the continued push to buff the swordsman line. Presumably, you're familiar with the new tech Gambazons at this point, and in my opinion, Vikings benefit more than almost any other civilization from it. The tech adds 1 pierce armor to the longsword in Castle Age, extending through to the champion, and when I recently looked at it in depth, the main takeaway was that against very high damage range units, it has little to no effect. But against cheap, low attack units, it can be pretty dramatic. For example, against crossbows with 7 attack, it reduces the damage they take by 25%, making the militia line better against one of their main counters. Even more importantly though, I'd argue, is how it cuts damage taken by elite skirmishers in half, assuming you have the other infantry armor upgrades. Now, you might wonder why anyone would make skirmishers against longswords, but remember Vikings are largely played as a crossbow civilization, so running into skirmishers is not that unexpected. Of course, their infantry also have 20% more HP, so instead of a generic longsword taking 30 javelins to defeat, a Viking fully upgraded longsword takes 72. While I suspect resistance to skirmishers was not the main intention with Gambazons, considering most of the best archer civs don't get access to it, Vikings being an infantry civ in this case gain a very nice complementary unit to their crossbows against a major counter. So that's our first big change, where I see the swordsman line buffs indirectly helping Vikings more than almost any other civilization. Moving on, the second major change was a whole set of improvements given to the Berserk. The biggest one is the effect of their unique tech Berserker Gang is now automatically given in Castle Age, meaning they heal 40 HP per minute instead of the previous 20. Practically speaking, this means a full heal that previously took 3 or 4 minutes is now always done in under 2 minutes, even for the elite version. In addition to healing up between fights, that even has a noticeable impact mid-fight, especially in Castle Age, where this wasn't previously available. For example, one-on-one, they heal 6 HP in a fight against a light cavalry, 10 HP against a knight, and 25 HP against a crossbow one-on-one. That extra HP gain fighting a knight especially now means with chieftains they can sneak out a win one-on-one, which was not true before this patch, and makes them actually quite cost-effective. Of course, you also have to think about the cost of the tech that's being saved. Prior to the most recent patch, Berserker Gang cost a hefty 850 food and 400 gold, but is now totally free on top of being given 1 age earlier. Until now, you had not only the elite upgrade to pay for, but 2 different unique techs on top of blacksmith and barracks upgrades. Even just the research time of Berserker Gang alone set you back 3 berserks, so giving that tech automatically now means they're both better objectively in Castle Age, but also overall just easier to switch into. All this for a unit that was already considered pretty decent before this patch. That's not all though. They also had some changes to their Castle Age unique tech Chieftains, where aside from having its cost slightly reduced, adds on a brand new effect of having infantry units generate 5 gold per villager killed and 20 gold per enemy monk or trade cart. For a bit of context, managing to pick off 10 trade carts and 30 villagers sounds like a very effective raid for infantry, which remember is pretty slow, and adds up to just 350 gold, so the total gold doesn't sound that insane under usual circumstances. But the other way to look at it is a berserk only needs to find one trade cart and one villager to recoup its entire gold cost. Remember, this applies to all Viking infantry though, so pikes and champions generate the same amount of gold as well. Altogether, between faster healing, erasing the cost for Berserker Gang, and the extra trickle of gold when raiding, there's several things here pushing Vikings toward being a true infantry civ, where infantry is actually your default, at least in 1v1s. At this point, the main problem I see is that infantry tends not to work very well in team games. And remember, Vikings already aren't doing very well in that department, which is typically dominated by cavalry and archers. It turns out though, Viking Arbalesters are also improved, and that'll be our third big change to look at. With Berserker Gang now automatically given to you, their new Imperial unique tech Bogsvegar adds +1 attack to the archer line. We'll do a few comparisons here, with cyan representing archers without thumbring, the Arbalester in darker blue representing a civ with thumbring, and in yellow we have the Vikings, who while lacking thumbring have 11 attack instead of 10 thanks to this tech. Since thumbring increases the Arbalester's fire rate by just under 18%, and Arbalesters without thumbring have functionally about 94% accuracy from a quick test I ran, according to the math, our blue Arbalesters with thumbring should do better against units with 5 or less pierce armor. At 6 pierce armor, they should be about the same as Vikings, and after that point, Vikings should in fact do better until you reach 10 pierce armor, where the extra attack has no effect anymore, and at that point we'd want faster firing and better accuracy again. All this means there's a window of relatively high accuracy armor enemies that Vikings should end up better against now than they were even before losing thumbring. Of course, in practice, this probably undersells the importance of Vikings focus firing requiring fewer shots, and instead overemphasizes damage over time, but we'll still look at a couple of quick examples to show how this plays out. To start with a pretty common example, here against an elite skirmisher, Viking Arbalesters in fact do the best one-on-one. Of course, this isn't cost effective, especially when you consider gold, but I consider this a pretty important matchup for them to hold up in, and Vikings hands down did the most damage overall. Throw in some Viking champions with Gambazins, and you should be able to effectively neutralize any skirmishers used against you. Likewise, Vikings need a quarter fewer shots to bring down an onager, which even with a bit less accuracy missing thumbring could still mean the difference between the onager getting one more attack away and destroying half your army, or keeping your Arbalesters alive. As another example, Cavaliers with all the armor upgrades are just on that threshold, where thumbring and the Vikings +1 attack are theoretically very similar. This one comes down a bit to randomness in the Vikings' accuracy, but you can see it's almost indistinguishable in effectiveness. Likewise, against Paladins as well, you need theoretically a quarter fewer arrows, and especially in this matchup, shows they're at least as good as Arbalesters with thumbring, probably a little better when you consider focus firing and the fact you need 15 fewer arrows. Personally, I think that's a big deal in team games especially, where a Viking player going crossbows into Arbalester has jumped from what were substandard Arbalesters before to being now above average against Paladins in particular.
With same game parlays on FanDuel, you can bet how your favorite players will do. Looking good, young chap.
Now, of course, there are a couple of downsides to all this, the first of which is that it costs more than thumbring, and is definitely something to get after Bracer and Chemistry. In those moments, you really want a last push in your firepower. The other issue is you don't have access to it until Imperial Age, so your crossbows aren't anything special in the mid-game. Considering that's when Vikings were already doing well though, this seems like a well-targeted buff for Imperials specifically. So far, we've covered their infantry changes and how their late-game Arbalesters are now often as good or better than ones with thumbring. But there's one last change to deep dive, which is the secondary effect of their Imperial unique tech. In addition to archers, it also increases longbow attack by 1. This might sound excessive given Vikings' reputation and popularity on water maps, but in reality, it's not really a change. While this does give an indirect +1 attack improvement to regular longboats in Imperial, the elite longboat had this offset by reducing their hidden attack bonus against ships and buildings by 1. Basically, getting this tech just brings you back up to what they were before, at least against things they're usually fighting, which are enemy ships and docks. In fact, it's reasonable to wonder if it's even worth paying 1150 resources for it on a water map, where you aren't planning to use the extra attack for archers and are just thinking about your navy. We'll compare a couple of elite longboats here. The cyan one is without this tech, and the yellow elite longboat will be with this tech researched, and spending the over 1000 resources, ideally hoping to see significantly better results. Checking out a couple of common matchups, the tech seems to give a noticeable but not amazing improvement. They take out galleons about 10% faster, setting them from almost exactly equal back to being a bit better than a generic galleon one-on-one. Likewise, there's a similar roughly 10% increase in effectiveness against fire ships, and as it happens, there's actually no impact against demos. Considering the Elite upgrade is similarly priced and increases their attack much more as well as adding to their HP, Bogsvager just seems like a very low priority. Though if you're absolutely swimming in resources, then it certainly won't hurt to pick up. I have to admit, I do like the idea of unique techs affecting both water and land units at once, to make them overall more useful on any map. But in this case, it just feels like the game is selling you something that used to be free. So while it sounds like a buff, in my opinion, it's actually a slight nerf to the unit. So to give some final thoughts, while Vikings are basically unchanged in the early game, from Castle Age on, I'd argue on land, they received some very nice improvements. The major takeaways, again, are first that longswords are more viable, especially to mix in against skirmishers to support your crossbows. Again, I think Vikings are a big beneficiary of a new tech that was purposefully not given to a lot of other civs who would have benefited in the same way. Second, the Berserk is unambiguously better, and for fun also has a unique raiding mechanic, now giving some extra flavor to the game. Third, the Arbalester is stronger in late Imperial, at least as good as ones with Thumbring, and especially when focus firing against high pierce armor targets, it should be a noticeable improvement. Finally, the Longboat was also slightly nerfed, now having higher upgrade costs, though I should point out that up until Imperial, they're as good as before on water, and considering the Berserk buffs, they might even be a little better on water maps, all things considered. Overall, if you're looking to embrace the devs' concerted push for infantry, I think Vikings are a great civ to try out, now more than ever. I've been playing them quite a bit this week, and am enjoying the Berserk changes in particular. That'll do it for this one though. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.
Hello everybody, it's your boy, back at it again with another video. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that one. And this time I'm playing Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds. I'm playing the Republic.
Recon unit operational.
And, okay. And, yeah. The Republic's my favorite faction. And, so we're playing them. And we're already wide open. Great, this is fantastic. I am having a blast over here, you guys. Look how wide open we are. Look, there's my ore, wide open. There's some trees right over there. There's our Nova. Nerf's over there, so let's go grab them. See how many we got? How many we got? One. Nice.
On the alert.
Two. Even better. And I can't Rancor. The thing with the Republic is they can be stupid jacked if they get enough nerfs, but hopefully we get a lot more nerfs here. Because that'd be cool. That happened. Okay. Whoa, those are the fighters? Nice. Hey, we don't care about that. Boom. Build a fortress right over here. I should protect this pretty well. Anyway. Need that upgrade. Man! What is that? Whoa. Loaded attackers gain a secondary beam ability. What? Okay, hold up. New upgrades. Okay, we know about the air cruiser and the fortress. We know about that upgrade right there. We know about that one too. Okay, you gentlemen. You guys.
I'm on my way. Enemy targets ahead.
Okay.
Engaging enemy.
Okay. While they're destroying that, I'm gonna take this, you know, few seconds, you know, to get more tanks, because we're gonna need them. We need more tanks. Whoa!